Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Connoisseur's Corner. Today we're going to dive into a list. Now this is a list that was like a subscriber slash commenter's choice. What I was asking in my comments this past week was, what particular tobacco fragrances would I wear in the warm summer days? Not particularly high heat, but warm summer days. And so today I want to present some fragrances because it wasn't hard for me to actually pull that type of list off, because I actually wear my tobacco fragrances year round. The caveat to that is that when we wear these fragrances here in Southeast Michigan, it would almost be like the winter time in Florida or the Carolinas or Alabama. So we have a different temperature up here in the north and northeast, so we can wear fragrances. That's why popular demand is for Santal 33 in New York. They can wear that fragrance year round. So with that caveat being said, these type of fragrances can come off well in Southeast Michigan, because sometimes, like yesterday where I wore a tobacco fragrance, it was a high at night of around 61 degrees. So you can see where these type of variables can come into play for us. Well, not all of the world, but for us in this band of temperatures, it's a great choice to wear a tobacco fragrance in the evening. And I have 6 fragrances here that I think come off very well in the summertime evening for you guys that are tobacco. Now I'm going to do a comprehensive tobacco list this coming fall. I think I have like over 30 tobacco fragrances. So I'm going to put that list out to be very comprehensive. But for this one, this is for summertime evening and summertime fragrance wear for tobacco scents. If this sounds like the type of content you think you'll enjoy, pull up a seat, pour a glass, and of course, let's enhance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Dry Down, the lifestyle channel where we as enthusiasts aspire to enhance and elevate our olfactive sensory experiences through the understanding of the different aromas, facets, and nuance of scent, cigars, and wines. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome to today's experience. We're going to dive right into this warm weather tobacco list for you guys. I said 6 fragrances in the open, but I went inside and I picked up one more because it is actually the fragrance I wore past evening. So I'm going to give it as kind of an honorable mention as a fragrance because I wore that in the 61 degree. Now that can be an anomaly, but it's great. It went off great in the setting that I wore it in. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the way it wore. And that is Cuban Tobacco by the House of ALGHABRA. Now this particular scent here is one of my favorite pickups over the last couple of years when it comes to a tobacco scent and a warm weather tobacco fragrance at that. This one here is sweet to a point. It is very, very warm, cozy style of fragrance, very date night appropriate, very evening wear appropriate for all year round. And I think that in the wintertime, this one here, the way it's macerated in my bottle is going to come off even better. But Cuban Tobacco, it has an opening of plum wine, a sea salt accord, mojito, and mandarin orange. So the way that this one comes off is very, very appealing in the high heat or warmer summer days or warmer autumn days or warmer springer days, because of the way it wears with that opening that stays that mojito vibe, as you could think of as a lime, sprightly lime style of fragrance, slightly boozy from the plum wine mojito mix, but it's more sweet, warming, and light because the tobacco in this one is actually tobacco flower. So you can kind of get the essence of what this one is trying to portray for you. It's a very beautiful scent that goes off very well. It's an extrait de parfum, so you don't need many sprays. So once you put on 1 or 2 sprays of this particular beautiful concoction, you are attractive to all around you. The opposite sex loves this particular scent. Cuban Tobacco Extrait de Parfum by ALGHABRA is one that I find an exclusive fragrance on YouTube, which kind of blows me away because I've maybe seen 2 or 3 people speak on it at the most. And I think it's one that's been slept on, one primarily because it's not widely available. But at the same time, I think this should be picked up and sampled at the least when you can find it in various locations that you seek for it. Once again, ALGHABRA Cuban Tobacco is a fine fragrance that opens up with that sprightly lime and mandarin feel, has a wine accord in it, which is mellow, very, very mellow. It's a come hither style of fragrance that ends up in that tobacco flower with a lot of woody notes and vanilla. So it's a very attractive scent that goes off in the realm of great date night fragrances. Once again, Cuban Tobacco by the House of ALGHABRA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now as we dive into the list in the practical sense, this one here is Speakeasy by the House of FRAPIN. FRAPIN makes some great scents. FRAPIN makes some unusual scents. And when you're a person in this collective of connoisseurs, you want sometime to have a journey in this particular genre of fragrances. And this one here, this Speakeasy, is one of those fragrances. To me, if you are a person who enjoys the scent Creation E, and you want Creation E to be a 4-season scent. Now we know Creation E is that boozy tobacco lounge style of fragrance. So Speakeasy is one that picks up on that contemplation. It really draws you in as a sexy fragrance. It has the Coca-Cola vibe. It has the tobacco vibe. It has the leathery nuances, but it's actually much more effervescent than Creation E or Enigma comes off. It is a slightly unusual fragrance the way it comes off, but that's not something that's off-putting. It's very much so an attraction to you, an interest builder, and a mysteriousness about you when you wear this particular scent. Speakeasy, made by FRAPIN, is totally appropriate for even higher temperatures in the summertime. So speaking around, I'd say up to 75, 76, 77 degrees, because the leather nuance in this one is overplayed by the musk in this one. It has a very mellow tobacco essence to it with a lot of pepper, which makes it much more effervescent than the rest. It has a lot more white florals and a little bit of a labdanum, which creates this amber effect, but it's the labdanum style of amber, not more of the vanilla concoction. So it's not as sweet. So it's a very, I would say, even with some of the white florals in this one could come off heady. At the end of the day, this one here is a great tobacco fragrance to wear in the high heat. It's very mellow, slightly, like I said, Creation E diet, and it comes off well. So Speakeasy is one to look into if you are interested in tobacco fragrance for the high heat summer weather. Speakeasy, FRAPIN. Next up on the list, ladies and gentlemen, I have Comandante by the house of XERJOFF. This is a fragrance from their Join the Club collection. And the one thing I hate about this collection, not hate it, it is what it is. It's one that we have to guess at what the notes are. And for me, I don't agree with any of the databases when it comes to this particular scent accord notes. What they say is that this has a lot of florals, powdery notes, and tobacco. Now, the one thing I will agree on with many of the sites that they have tobacco, but every other site diverges from that particular note and says it has something else in it. I'll tell you what I get. This is a fragrance that competes with the best of fragrances like 1 Million, the best of fragrances like, what is it, Invictus Aqua, where it has this watery, floral watery accord, but it has this sweetness to it and a tobacco essence. And so for this one is a great compliment magnet for year-round. I've seen this called a stunner. I've seen this called one of the most beautiful fragrances out. I've seen this called XERJOFF's best. To me, it is one of the better in the Join the Club collection. I have quite a few in that collection, and I can state that properly. But this is one of the top 3 inside that collection, behind 40 Knots and Ivory Root, in my opinion. So Comandante comes off very well, very sweet, very cozy, very sexy, very sensual and alluring, but it also comes off light wearing from the use of the florals that they use in this one. But it's not anything leaning feminine floral. It's that type of concoction, like I said, is a 1 Million or a 1 Million privé style of fragrance, whereas clubby is lounge night, it's state night, but it's also one that you can get to go out in your day and smell slightly fresh, and apparently something that gets compliments, because this one is one to get compliments for me. So a fragrance that has a nice amount of tobacco that you can smell. And what I'll say is this one has a smell of the Naxos tobacco in it. So if you like that type of scent, you want it to be a little bit lighter, Comandante by the house of XERJOFF. Next up on the list, guys, I don't know if you guys are aware of how beautiful this particular scent can come off in the summertime season, but BDK's Tobacco Rose is one that I find very, very attractive, much more so than in the depths of winter and fall. The reason so, this comes off with a light filling of Cistus labdanum, a Turkish rose, which is always that light enveloping rose, not the deep Bulgarian rose or the sweet nuance of something like a Taif. This one, that Turkish rose, comes off very like a rose water versus a deep rose essence, to me at least, in this fragrance. And this opens up with that plum, a very nice spiced cinnamon accord with pink pepper, which is always that lively, sweet, warming essence of pepper, and then the tobacco. And then this one, it comes off phenomenally well in, for me, spring, summer, fall. And I've been enjoying this one actually a much more of a useful type of fragrance for me in this type of weather. And that's surprising to me because of the name of Tobacco Rose, but it comes off very, very well in this particular weather. To me, like I said, it's a fragrance that comes off with that Turkish rose, which is that light rose. The plum is very sweet. Cinnamon is that spicy nuance that meets sensuality and sexuality in the middle. and it becomes a great fragrance, especially as it dries down into the skin and it's not something pushing out too far. It's a very, very good couch wearing fragrance, a Netflix and chill fragrance, and one that's very attractive to the opposite sex when you wear it, man. This is when I got this fragrance, I must say I was one that was kind of taken back, like, nah, that's not my style. I was hearing what it did, and it was from guys in the South that were telling me this, that it was a banger. I'm like, man, now in the weather that those gentlemen were wearing this particular scent in, I'm wearing it now in my summer, and it comes off phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie to you, it comes off phenomenal. This is sweet, cozy tobacco and rose fragrance that you should get your nose on if you're wanting something like that. BDK's Tobacco Rose, it's a good scent. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, when a house does something well, hey, we got to compliment that house. And this house here, XERJOFF, UDENOVERDOSE, tobacco flower, ginger, vanilla, lemon, bergamot. This is one of the favorites of my summertime wears. UDENOVERDOSE is one of those fragrances that just turn my head first, you know, love it first sniff type of scent. It's very effervescent. The ginger is very spicy, very pleasant to be around. It's one of those scents that really give 3 different genres of fragrances in one, and that's something like a Bulgari Tiger with a heavy ambroxan and grapefruit and ginger feel. It also has the tobacco essence, which is that great floral, white floral tobacco, which is very effervescent and sensual. And then it also has this ambery vanilla to it, very much so built on the vanilla style of amber. So it's a very sexy scent that I find one of the best in my summertime rotation. I can't speak on enough about this one. I've given this one a lot of play on my channel, and that's not just because that's for a reason. That's because this scent actually gives me so much pleasure, and it's one of those scents you can see through a collection like mine and as large as mine. When you start going halfway through a bottle or more, you're using the scent because of the pleasantries of it and the way it goes off usefully for you. And this one for me, UDENOVERDOSE, is one of those fragrances, really impressive, really well to wear. Great scent. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, what I have on this list, Blonde Amber. To me, this is Clive Christian does it every single time for me, man. When I find a fragrance in Tom or in Clive Christian's catalog that I find interested, and I seek a sample out almost every single time, it does something for me and to me. And this one particularly is one of the nicest tobacco fragrances that I've come across in a long time. Not because it's built different, not because it's actually a super unique fragrance, but because the way it wears and envelops you while also having a great amount of development. This one here is a great scent to wear for me in summer evenings and then the rest of the year all year round. I found that out a couple times this particular summertime when I just wanted to spray something on different, either for sampling purposes or finding what I want to wear in my catalog or wardrobe. And this one here, it kept on calling me, and I'm like, man, what do I want to do? What do I want to wear? And the name Blonde Amber kept coming to me, and I knew in my head that the blonde meant blonde tobacco and the amber was because of the sweet ambery feel to it. It's a much more dynamic fragrance than that, but Blonde Amber, at the end of the day, from the Art Deco collection of Clive Christian, is one phenomenal smelling tobacco fragrance to me. And I stated that in my actual long form review. It comes off phenomenal. It's sweet, it's warm, it's cozy, but at the same time it has this violet leaf and this mandarin and this very cooling tonka bean feel to it. It also has a lot of grapefruit and red berries, so it's this actual nuance that comes off very light, almost I'm going to say this, but don't take me wrong when I say it comes off in that realm of like the fruitiness of herba pura with the tobacco fragrance. And that, for me, when you put those two fragrances together, it becomes one of those crazy concoctions in your mind that you just keep going back after again and again. And that's what I did this particular spring, late spring, and early days of summer. And even some I see going forward, this particular late summer. This is one that turns women's heads. If you're not up on this one, guys, you got to find your way to get a sample of this one. Blonde Amber by the house of Clive Christian is a head-turning stunner that I enjoy wearing in the high heat of summer, especially this year. Clive Christian, XXI 21, Blonde Amber. I'm impressed with this one, y'all, honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, last on this list, but not least at all, you guys, if you are used to Ormonde Jane fragrances, I've presented many on this particular channel. And this one here in particular, Ormonde Jane MONTABACO INTENSIVO, is a beautifully done, just pinpoint blank, one of the best year-round fragrances for a man that I found. This one here comes off with a very, very effervescent style of fragrance, a little bit of aldehydes, a chord that they say is a fresh mountain air, and I'm thinking that's the aldehydes because that's what I'm starting to develop my nose around and understand. It has ISOE Super, which is that nicely done cedar wood accord that Montabaco is very, very impressive in using. It has ambroxan. It has a lot of woody accords, a lot of airy accords, a lot of starkness to it, a lot of masculinity to it. But at the end of the day, it's one of the freshest tobacco fragrances that you will ever put your nose on. This is one that has impressed many people in the fragrance community. It's not only one that you can find to be impressive as a head turner for sensuality. This is one that is a great business perfume for men in the summertime. It's very, very becoming of a gentleman, while at the same time having some power and force behind it. And that's what we want in the summertime for a lot of our fragrances. And it doesn't wear heavy. It doesn't wear very, very, not ambiguity, nothing to it. It's a very masculine scent. And it's not something that's going to be too heavy to drown out people. It's going to be something very inviting for a man to wear in the summertime as a tobacco fragrance. Like I said, a lot of ISOE Super, a lot of ambroxan, a lot of aldehydes that they're calling ozonic notes, a little bit of a leather suedeness to it, much more suede than leather. Very beautiful, very becoming tobacco scent for the summertime. That is Jayne Montabaco Intensivo. Get your nose on this one as well, guys. I know many of us tell you about the house of Jayne. I don't see a lot of people talking about Jayne. I know that it's one of those houses that goes in the middle in the framework of our culture. But to me, if you want to get your nose on one, get your nose on Intensivo, Montabaco Intensivo. It's a very dynamic scent that I think has a lot of depth, a lot of character, a lot of nuance to it that brings out masculinity, sexuality, sensuality, but at the same time staying compelling for anyone to love and like, at least on your skin. Once again, Montabaco Intensivo. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my video for you guys today. I hope, as always, you guys got something entertaining and educational from this particular video. And if you did, all that I ever ask that you do is hit the like button, subscribe, and send this video out to a couple friends. Let them know that we here at the Dry Down are doing phenomenal interactions, phenomenal engagement, and we all love the community and are growing as a community, as I should say. Man, this thing is starting to blast off, and subscribers are starting to grow, and I really want to thank all you guys for that, man. This is certainly what I wanted to happen and what I see and have the expectations for it to happen. But to see it happening in this space and the growth that I'm having, I'm very much so happy with that, with you guys. So thanks again. Thanks as always. And like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Drop a comment below. If you have a summertime fragrance that has a scent of tobacco in it, drop it below. Let's continue to teach these courses and give this knowledge out to each other, man. Until next time and until next video. Peace.